people who have read Vote Scam have requested the Kennedy assassination tape over the years, and so we're going to give it to you now. Enjoy it.
This is 411 Elm Street, is the former home of the Texas School Book Depository in Dallas, Texas. The cameraman is going to do a walking tour of the crime scene, and the camera is now heading out toward the plaque on the wall, which in 1988, when this tape is shot, acknowledges that Lee Harvey Oswald allegedly, to use the word on the plaque, fired the shots at the president from the 6th floor window of this building, the window on the right, on November 22nd, 1963. The camera is panning around the building. To the right of the building, to the west, is a parking lot. That's Elm Street. To our front is that cars driving down there. That's Houston Street. Could you stop the tape here, sir? That is the street aiming toward the camera, in which the motorcade was diverted from Main Street and turned onto this street heading toward the camera so that it could turn to its left and down to the fateful Elm Street route. All right. And stop it here. This building to the east of the Texas School Book Depository, to our left, is the Dow Tex building, and it is from those windows, or windows a little higher, not in the picture, that some critics of the Warren Report have claimed the true rifleman who shot the president from the back was stationed. There were fire escapes on that building at the time of the shooting, and the angle down to the west on Elm Street is a direct angle into the president's back, as opposed to the angular shot that would have been required from the 6th floor of the depository. Now those cars are heading down Elm Street. The camera walks across and into the heart of the JFK crime scene. But again, that's the parking lot behind the depository to the west. Pan back over to Houston Street and pretend you could see the car turning to its left. The whole motorcade slowed down to about 8 miles an hour or slower at this point. Right up here near the depository is where the first shots rang out. About 4 lines into the road down Elm Street. That is the pergola. It's a white structure there. That's the Grassy Knoll to your right. That's the underpass down at the bottom where the president was heading when he was shot. That is the area of the park within Dealey Plaza. There are several bystanders watching the motorcade. All these cars that are driving here on the day that this was shot in 1988 are driving over, of course, that same ground in which the drama took place in somewhat over 6 seconds when it occurred. Now, on the curb, first of all, another view back to the depository so you can see where you're standing. And now the camera is searching for a place near the manhole cover. There's the manhole cover on the left, and there is a bullet fracture of the south curb of Elm Street near the manhole cover in the heart of the killing zone. The cameraman is going to walk over to it and examine it. And when he gets there, we'll freeze the frame, and the viewer is urged to take a very close look at the direction of the fracture. Again, here we pass the landmark of the manhole cover, and we go about 8 feet and stop, sir, right here. Yes, maybe a little further, just a little. And observe, all right, observe, I'd say bring it a little further. In fact, it comes over more to the left. All right, stop. Observe that the linear fracture, and maybe back it up a little so we can see it again and again. Right there, stop it there. That the linear fracture coming in from the viewer's upper right-hand corner to the left appears to be a linear bullet mark. In any case, it certainly is a linear fracture of that stone, and then the sort of blunted end, which is covered with some yellow here, and it's been there 25 years, indicates that after the bullet entered the pavement at that angle, that it ricocheted outward and upward and across Elm Street back to the north, where a ricochet was known to have struck or a direct bullet. At the time they thought it was a direct bullet, but a ricochet or a direct bullet hit the sidewalk at the very portion of Elm Street right across the street at the moment the shot rang out. This linear mark leads us to aim our camera in the direction that it is going. And carry on. And again, we'll orient ourselves. In fact, this very spot where the camera is standing, it's showing you, it is the spot where the hair and other matter, bone matter, wound up on the ground after the shots were fired, right next to the manhole cover. Again, there's a 6-4 window, and a shot from that window could not have possibly created a fracture in the pavement such as... Now, we're now looking down towards the grassy knoll in the corner, and we see that there is a gap there. There's a fence, if you can see it. The brown part there is a fence, and that goes about 100 feet to the right, as you'll see. That sign was there the day of the assassination, the same size sign that's there now. And you can see the fence and the trees. 25 years ago, those trees were only just peeking over the top of the fence. Now the cameraman is going to walk directly to get up and into the world so different behind the fence, above the trestle, and into the area of the railroad yards. That fence, as you see, is a wooden fence. It's been there 25 years. It was brand new and painted white the day of the assassination, and the fence went all the way to the corner. In other words, that gap that we see there wasn't there then. It went completely around. In 1978, the House Assassinations Committee stated that there was a 95% probability that a fatal shot, or a shot or more, was fired from behind the fence at the corner of the parking lot. As you will see, the corner of the parking lot is right nearby this very location, and there it is. There's the corner of the parking lot. And now the cameraman turns around to his left to show you the railroad yards, and now is walking straight along the trestle line to give you the vantage of the 16 railroad men and 1 policeman who were standing right about up in this area overlooking the motorcade as it traversed down Elm Street. All of them were in a position then to have seen a sniper who might have been standing aiming a rifle over the fence at the motorcade. And it would have been a very dangerous undertaking, and not a very well-planned one, to have a sniper be shooting at the president from the front, simply unsteady on solid ground, aiming over the top of a fence, and then having to get away with the weapon after the shot was fired and not be seen by anybody. It was too much of an undertaking. Thus, where could the second sniper, the one who is purported to have hit the president in the right front side of the head, where could he have stationed himself and gotten away? What type of planning would have been required? It had to be somewhere behind the fence at the corner of the parking lot. He needs somewhere to hide. He'd need some way to escape. And right there in front of you, you see there was fence. The fence used to be there, but souvenir hunters have taken this gap away. And so the fence was fastened right to that piece of cement in the upper part of your screen, as it is all the way around for the 100 yards. But what's this? A 6-foot deep by 3-foot by 3-foot shaft, cement lined. You see the metal piece there that used to have a grate solidly affixed to the top of it. At the bottom, there is a hole, which is a drain pipe, 18 inches wide, man-sized, so that a sniper would merely have needed to have aimed the rifle over the top lip underneath the fence, through a broken slat, perhaps, in the fence, taken a shot, and then have simply let the lid fall over his head, locked it from the inside, and then headed down with the rifle to the sewer system and away, or have the opportunity to throw the rifle perhaps into that hole, disassembled or assembled, and then emerge from this hidey hole at his leisure, hours or even days after the event, totally undetected. The only way to prove such a theory, however, is to take a look and see that the cement in the thing was built during the time the trestle itself was built. That was in 1935 and 36. And then to aim the camera as if it were a sniper scope into the heart of the crime scene, and to see whether or not a matchup can be made with that known place in the killing zone where the bullet struck the curb and made the linear bullet mark, aiming in this direction. And now, if you will slow down the camera, slow it now, stop, bring that car back, and stop it a little further ahead so we can see the yellow mark. A little more, stop. Observe, the yellow mark is right at the tail fin of the car. And you notice to the left of that, you see the manhole cover. If the shot that had hit John Kennedy, as the Zapruder film indicates, was a shot from this location here, in other words, below the level of the fence, somebody sitting in the back right-hand seat in that car, as you can see in this photo, in this still, if their head were hit on the right side, the consonant autopsy and other films related to it would show that that's, of course, where the shot came from. And if the bullet then glanced off the head, having done the damage, and dove into the curb at the tail light of the car where the yellow mark is that indicates a bullet did hit the curb on that date, at that time, in that direction, then you have the answer as to where the second shooter would have, and in fact had to have, shot from in order to have made both the fatal wound to the right side at an angular level of about 30 degrees, which we see here, and then create the fracture in the curb. And now if you let the car go, again, stop it here. Again, the spot between the yellow mark, which is the bullet mark, and the manhole cover, which is about 5 or 6 feet from there, is the exact spot which photos, well known to all assassination researchers, and printed in a book known as Forgive My Grief by Penn Jones Jr., a researcher. There are photos taken that day of a policeman and several other people standing at that very spot examining bone and hair matter which emerged and wound up on the ground right next to that manhole cover, thus validating the theory, of course, that once hit on the right side, that all these things flew to the left and back, and the president himself, as known in the Zapruder film, was forced on the seat to be to his back and to his left into the arms of his wife. If you go on. The motorcycle that was riding to the left was also affected by that shot. Now the camera will draw back and show you the sight as it looks to the naked eye. When in a sniper scope, you're practically up on it. And now the last thing that we can do is get up from the spot and walk around to the area and show the viewer what the second gunman would have had to go through if he wasn't in that hole. If you'll hold on, I think he's going to turn back. Go ahead, let it go. Hold on, stop it there. Where these tourists are standing in 1988, when this tape was taken, there's a parking lot here, still here. The trees you see there are very lush now. 25 years ago, they barely broke the cover of the fence. All right. We're going to go down to the other end of the fence, where the public has been led for 25 years to believe if there had been a second gunman, that that's where he would have been, behind this corner of the fence, in this corner of the parking lot. And prepare to stop it in a moment, as soon as we have a good view. All right, now, stop it. Bring it back. I want to see, that's it. See, the manhole cover is right there. You see the little white gap. in the south curb over there. That's the manhole. And as you know, a few feet to the right is the bullet mark. A shot from here would have been laterally, directly, straight at a 90-degree angle into the car. It would have affected the president's wife. It would have changed the direction of the bullet, and certainly it would have changed what is evident on the Zapruder film.